Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I will be installing a 3D printed bed on my Redcat Ascent Fusion, as well as some new 3D printed sliders. And a lot of different options with these. I will link them up down below, but essentially these sliders are shorter than the stock ones, where the original ones have this extra little piece here. So I guess it was intended for when you have the full bed on here, but they just reused them on the Fusion with just the cab only, and they do stick out and look a little bit kind of wonky. And the slider that I ordered, again, there are plenty of options like this where you can get these without this little receiver box. It's pretty nice though. It comes with a cover. I don't think it's exactly waterproof, but I would say splash proof. This isn't a rig I would be running through water anyway, so I'm not too concerned about that. It is nice just to have it somewhat sealed up if you are running somewhere near water or some mud or any kind of debris gets up in there. It'll kind of protect your receivers. Yeah, so I'll take you guys through the install process on these. It should be relatively straightforward. I'll get you a weight on all these parts. So the bed is really just purely additional weight just for the sake of looks. You know, if you like the way it looks stock, that's fine. I did notice, however, that the rear end on this truck is extremely light. I was running the battery up front, so I'm not sure of the exact weight distribution, but it is supposed to be 60-40 out of the box. Maybe with the battery up front, it bumps that up a tiny bit. But I did notice that this thing really likes to go ass over tea kettle quite a bit, pretty easily too. Like, it doesn't give you too much warning. It just kind of flips when you're descending steep things. So I don't really think adding that weight to the rear is going to be a huge issue. Let's just get a weight on this right now while we're on the subject. And this is 115, it's going back, 115 grams, which is 4 ounces. So it's not a ton of weight, but it's definitely noticeable. So I don't know how that's going to affect overall performance. I do also have some brass beadlock rings I might just throw in the front just to get that balance back to close to stock. But I don't know. We'll try. I think I'm just going to try adding this first and see how it works out. So let's get down to it. I think it's going to be very easy install, and I'll show you guys how that goes. So let's just take a closer look at these real quick. Very nice quality, really nice printing. And we'll see how it holds up. I haven't had a ton of luck. This does seem very solid. I haven't had a ton of luck with many 3D printed parts. I always end up breaking them. So we'll see how this holds up. It seems like it's going to be very well protected. It doesn't exactly stick out past the wheel, so it should be good. Now, this insert here, you have a lot of options in terms of the pattern and then also the color if you wanted to get this in red, or I think they had like a ton of different colors. But again, I'll link it up below. But this is removable, and you can take this whole bed insert out and swap it out for something. Same deal with the sliders, look very well made. And you can see this little receiver box here, and it has a cover and then another cover here for your wiring, and it leaves a little slot here for the wires to come out, so that's nice. Again, you don't have to get the receiver box. You can just get flat, sliders if that's what you're after. And then on this side, this is for the battery. So this is just the 1300 pack. It fits in there pretty much perfectly, and you could either just I typically just do this extreme Velcro and just pop them down, but this one does have a provision for a battery strap, and you kind of just loop. I'll assume that the stock battery strap is the right size for this, and you just loop it around and then just secure your battery. So I'll probably go that route. I may end up doing the Velcro plus the strap just for really lock this thing in place here. So that should be nice. I do not like how the stock system here with the battery, let me show you guys here. If you try to mount it here, it's kind of where the strap, the biggest issue is the strap goes around like just one little section of the battery. So you would have to really do Velcro on the bottom to really secure that. This one with the strap going around long ways, I think is a much better design. Okay, so it looks like I just need to remove these two cross pieces here, as well as this one up front. So let's get those out. I guess I need to take this one out too, but it looks like they're going to go back in. It appears that these all go back in through here and secure it. So let's see how that goes. I'm probably going to need to remove these as well just to drop this thing down in place. And yes, that is absolutely the case. Yep, so just got all of these removed. I pretty much just left this one here that's at the front of the shock tower. And this will just kind of drop in place. And we'll get a little preview of how it's going to look. I think it looks super cool. And I was correct in assuming that these just slide right into the bed. So we're just going to get these all in place and then kind of off camera there. I'm going to do that and then just reassemble everything in reverse order. Okay, so these cross braces are different lengths, so just keep that in mind when you pull these apart. Just keep track of them, but it's pretty simple to figure out where they go. The shorter ones go along the bottom of the frame, and then of course the longer ones go on your shock towers because these are mounted on the outside of the chassis rails, and then the other ones go on the inside of the chassis rail. So I just slid one of the short ones through here, and then the other two shorter ones will go into the rear section here. And then that pretty much just sits right back down between the chassis rails like it did before. So on your shock mounts here, I do recommend just a tiny drip of some blue Loctite. I did have one back out on me on the trail one day, and not a huge deal. Luckily, I had some extra hardware with me, but the screw was gone and my shock just popped completely off. So keep an eye on that. And also, if you want to put this back in the stock location here, you got to slide this one through these holes first because you can't do it now. I don't even think there's a need for it. These are so stiff. I'm just going to run this up on top here, like a double here. I don't honestly even remember where it was. I'm pretty sure it was here before. I would have to just go back and look at the video, I guess, but I'm just going to pop it on top there. Okay, so here we have the bed installed. I like it. I think it looks great. Minimalist, but it definitely hides what it needs to hide. Looks cool. You could get some little scale accessories back here if you're interested in that. If you're doing comps or something where you're going to get extra points, you can put whatever you want back here, or you're just looking for more of a scale drive. Now, here's the one interesting thing I did not think of, and I don't know if this is going to be a pain or not, but so there's plenty of room here for your body to pivot up and down, but how do you get to the body clips now? That's the interesting part. Even from the bottom, the new sliders will be shorter, so I could go up from the bottom, but they're pretty much like right in the middle. So I'm not sure what the attention there was, but okay, so update on the body clip situation. You can access them somewhat easily from the bottom if you use this clip with like a tab on it. This was actually just an Arma one that attached to the body. It kind of broke off, but so you can kind of sneak them in from the bottom, which is cool. I could live with that. So yeah, just get yourself some of these little pull tabs, or you could probably even just put like a wire tie, like a zip tie on here around the end and just leave like a little tail sticking out, and you can just pop them in from the bottom. So problem solved. Okay, so for the sliders, just removing these two very long screws, and I'm going to pop the new ones on. Completely forgot I was going to weigh these, so let's go ahead and weigh this one. This is just a stock one where the receiver was mounted. 1 ounce. Let's go here, 30 grams. And the new one, 15 grams or half ounce. So this is half the weight of the original. Okay, so for the left side, which had the battery mount and is now going to have the receiver box on it, that was 25 grams for the stock. And let's get all of the pieces here. We're talking 30 grams. So the other side is lighter. This side is a little bit heavier. Ultimately, it is lighter. The entire combination is lighter. Provide some hardware as well as a little foam sealer piece that goes onto where your wires are going to come out. Okay, so I got my receiver plopped in here and just fed the wires down through the cover here. We get some hardware in here. And I'm not going to go crazy sealing this up. Like I said, I'm not going to run this through water. If you were going to plan on doing that, I would really seal up your receiver like in a balloon or something, or use some conformal coating, waterproof it, and then also use a lot of silicone grease around here, kind of make a little silicone gasket out of grease and just really seal everything up. But I'm not going to run this in water, so I'm not going too crazy with that. Okay, so interesting in that they chose to run the receiver. Now, I may have ordered this wrong. I think you can specify what you want left and right. I need to go back and look on the ordering options, but I'm not sure if I could have ordered the right side with the receiver mount and the left side with the battery tray, like it was kind of original. I'm not sure. I don't like how these wires cross over the drive shaft here. I did put a zip tie here, and they're not rubbing, and I don't think they will, but just not crazy about that idea. It does have a cool provision for the switch up front here, so I like that. That just snaps in place. I really like that, but I kind of wish that was on this side and the battery was on that side, especially being that the motor is offset to this side, and now I have the battery on this side. That's a lot of weight over here, even though the servo's on that side, so I'm not sure how that all plays out, but it is what it is. I do really like how these sliders look. They really are just straight across the back there, and you don't get that kind of goofy part sticking out here anymore. So aesthetically, I think it's great. I really like how the battery. So the battery strap is just, it's a little too short. You're going to have to run a longer battery strap. It just kind of fits in there, but it's not really on the loop part of the fasteners here. So I need to get a slightly longer battery strap. So I will pop one of those in, but I do really like how secure the battery is with this design compared to stock. Let me find a longer strap here and get that mounted up. Okay, your stock Redcat strap is about 10 inches. I have this Hobby Park one that is 12 inches. So let's see how that works out. Okay, so yeah, 12-inch strap worked out nicely. And then you could even tuck the wires under there so they don't move around so much. All right, so here we have the results. I think it looks really nice. Very happy with it. We'll go out and give it a test run and see if it has any effect on the performance. I'm sure these sliders are going to work out very nice. I don't see it being much of a difference from the stock other than they are a little shorter, so maybe you gain a tiny bit of clearance. The strap just sticks out of the front a tiny bit, not a big deal. It is on a nice angle there. I don't see it really catching anything. I am curious to see how having the battery and the motor on the same side is really going to affect things. I really just need to invest some money and buy like a 4-corner scale setup, but we'll see if that happens. The other thing I kind of forgot that I did go ahead and install some brass portal weights on the rear. So maybe now is going to be overkill with the additional weight of the bed, but we'll see. I tend to like a little bit more even weight distribution than 60-40. It's just the way I drive. I like to descend steep things as much as I like to go up them. So I don't mind having a little extra weight on the back. So I want to test this out before I make any changes. Here we have the SBI Prince bed and sliders installed. I'm out at my favorite crawling spot up at Rifle Camp Park, which is not too far from where I live. But by far my favorite place to crawl. Just has some really cool terrain. So I'm out just giving this thing a good test run, and you can see the added clearance from the shorter sliders, and I just really love the way it looks. And spoiler alert, it really performed well with the extra weight. I had zero issues. With the shorter sliders installed, I was able to get the body clips up from the bottom just using the pull tab. So that worked out great. I have no complaints about that. And the shorter sliders do actually give you a little bit more clearance at times, which I really liked. So no complaints overall. I took some really decently hard tumbles on the bed itself toward the back and the top, and no problems. You know, tiny little scuff, scrape here and there, but nothing cracked, nothing broke. So hopefully long term, these are going to hold up really well. And it's nice and beefy, so hopefully this thing holds up. It's printed extremely well. It almost looks like, you could almost mistake this for more of a molded ABS type of plastic just from the look of it. From a little distance. If you look up close, you could see some of the little lines and stuff from the printing, but it's done extremely well. And I am also running some brass portal weights on the rear. I forget what these weigh offhand, but they are actually thicker than the ones on the front. I may end up swapping these out. I did a quick comparison on a scale, not a 4-corner scale, but I weighed the front of the vehicle versus the rear, and it is very close to now 55% front weight distribution. So I definitely add a little more weight to the rear by going with these and then putting the bed on the back. And now I'm running the battery on the slider as opposed to up front next to the servo. So I'm real curious to see how this works today. One of my complaints with this truck was that the ass end was super light and it would just topple over. I like descending really steep stuff too, so it's just the way that I enjoy driving. If you're all about climbing, yeah, more forward weight bias is going to be good, but if you like to descend, you want to have a little bit more balance. So we're going to see if this ends up being the right balance for the type of terrain that I have here and the kind of lines that I want to run going up and down. So yeah, let's run this for a bit and see what we got. But I think it looks killer like this, and I'm really happy with it. I have a few minutes here of crawling to share with you guys, but definitely stay tuned if you want to see more. I have a lot more footage that I'm going to put together into a second video and just talk about this truck a little bit more and show you guys some of the other details. Be sure to check out my playlist for the Ascent Fusion if you want to see what I've done to this truck in the past. And if you want to see what I do to it in the future, I'm going to have a lot more videos on this truck coming up soon. Okay, so that worked. We're now doing a couple little easier descents just to see how the weight balance is. So that's getting light in the rear, but controllable. I feel like more so than it has been in the past. I really enjoyed driving this truck with this setup. That little bit of extra weight on the rear, well, I shouldn't say a little bit, it's a decent amount. I think with the bed and the portal weights on the rear, it really just balanced the truck out, and it just worked better for me all around. Wow. I did not think I was going to pull that off. All right, let's try another little descent here. I'm at a very bad line, angle, approach. Still. Oh boy. Simmer down. There we go. Okay. I'm also curious to see if these sliders, see like a spot right here, that a longer slider like the stock one might actually get you hung up in spots. Of course, it might also kind of help with dragging it over rocks at times. So I'm curious though, but it does seem like in a spot like this, you could see that stock slider sticking back an extra inch would actually hang up there. So I feel like that's a nice benefit. Well, let's try going down again. And I really, if this thing starts to topple, I want to try to catch it. I really don't want to smash up this bed. Maybe I'm just a little too worried. Oh boy. See, but that was nice. I was able to catch it. I saw it going. I was able to just throttle out. That's going to wrap it up, guys. Stay tuned if you want to see more crawling with the Ascent Fusion. I have a lot more footage I'm going to post up very soon. I will have a link in the description to the SBI prints if you want to pick up a bed or the sliders. I highly recommend them. I will have a long-term review at some point in the future with these, and thanks for checking out the video, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Later.